Hey, we're just relaxing. A lot of times we just kind of brainstorm ideas for videos, and a lot of times I wish that we were recording. So we're just going to freeform it, see how it goes. If it's good, you'll see it. If it's not good, you won't see it. So
Probably going to be some hot takes. You'll find out just how little we know about whiskey.
maybe it could be interesting.
Yeah,
We'll see.
We're going to have fun. So, which one do you want to start with?
Probably the lower proof one. Let's see, 150. Yeah, let's start with this one.
Okay.
I know a lot of people love Woodinville. It's just, you get that first taste of something, a brand, and that's your thoughts on everything. And I don't know that I like it, so I'm a little nervous about this, not gonna lie.
So Woodinville, if you remember back, was the first craft we bought at Total Wine. It was a single barrel.
Yes.
We absolutely hated it.
It was a long time ago. I get it. It was like we were probably our 20th bottle or something.
But if you remember, that's one of those that like you drank yours fast just to kind of get it out of the glass and get through it because we didn't like it. And I let mine sit for about, I don't know, a half hour or so. And then when I tasted it again, I was like, oh my God, this is opened up. It's amazing. It's like butterscotch. And that was literally the first bottle we had that we recognized a significant change in flavor after it sat for a while. So this one is it's a single barrel. It's a store pick. A lot of the people that follow the live streams of the channels that we follow live streams for recognize Bourbon Baller Lee.
I gave you the bottle instead of the glass.
Yeah, I saw that. Bourbon Baller Lee is like I don't know if he's the manager, the owner, what, but anyways, he's at the QFC in Sammamish, Washington. About a 3-hour drive for me, but I made it up there a couple days ago. I met Lee. I picked up 2 of his store picks. The Woodinville is a Washington distillery. Woodinville, Washington, obviously. He said it took him, I think it's, what is it, Dave and Lee's killer?
John and Lee's Wicked Batch number 10.
Yeah, he told me it took him about 3 hours to pick this one because they weren't digging the samples and they kept asking for more until they found one. So I'm excited to try this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about Woodinville. We had the one bottle that they didn't love, and we said we were never going to have another bottle of Woodinville. I mean, it was okay, but I don't remember loving it. Like, so many other people love it. I hear plenty of channels talk about Woodinville and how great it is, but we've never been to the distillery. We've never really tried anything.
So Woodinville Distillery is fairly close to Sammamish. I did drive there after I visited him.
Okay, well, I guess he's visited, but I have not, because, someone's got to work.
All right, well, cheers. Let's get into this. So, the neck pour, if you subscribe to that myth.
This is a bourbon? What is this? Bourbon whiskey, okay.
Yeah, what are the stats on it?
Bourbon whiskey, 115.62 proof. So 57.81% alcohol. That's all I know. Bourbon whiskey.
Right.
But
no age or anything on there?
No, not that I see.
Okay.
Bottle number 20, barrel number 8498. That's all it says. It smells malty though.
Yeah. So it smells crafty, I guess.
I think it's malt. But
when I was there, I asked them what their mash bill was, and they have one of these bottles with no label on it that's full of like corn and rye and malt, and he's like, "This is our mash bill," and he said it was a high rye mash bill. But he
I guess it could be the type of rye.
He didn't give me specifics.
Because, we've got some ryes that taste really malty when they're 100% rye or something like that.
Yeah, I do get a little bit of that rye spice.
I really don't think I'd guess this was a bourbon on the nose. But here we are, sipping the neck pour.
So what are your thoughts on the neck pour?
Well,
You a believer or not a believer?
I guess it depends on the day. So we have lots of bottles that we didn't love the first time we tried them, and then we went back to them and we're like, what were we thinking? It must have been the neck pour. But then I have so many that I think it's just my mood and what I ate and what I drank and that kind of thing that affect it more than.
So scientifically, and I'm not a scientist, we're talking about a very oxygen stable liquid. There's more air inside that barrel when they pour it than there is in that bottle, right? I don't feel like getting air is gonna change it a whole lot.
No. But I really do think that what you eat and how hydrated you are, and if you burnt your tongue or something, or you have heartburn, or so many different things that can play into it. And your mood.
And
there are things I love, and I'm not in the mood for something spicy. I'm not going to love if you pour me something spicy.
Yeah, and even your memory of it. Like, I drank that a couple months ago. This is what I remember from it. And now I'm drinking again, and my experience is different. The bottle must have changed. It wasn't that I'm not clearly remembering what it was, right?
You don't think I'm an expert at this?
Yeah, you probably have a much better memory than me.
We do plenty of blind tasting where you're like, do you like it? What do you think it is? And I'm wrong 99% of the time, unless it's Buffalo Trace product, because that's the only one that I have a memory for, apparently.
And then you're only wrong 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
I like that you got the bottle of it. I still don't know that I'm a huge Woodinville fan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd still try more, but it's interesting.
Well,
I like that it's interesting. It's different than anything else we have, but.
Yeah, I'm glad you said you'd be willing to try more, because I did pick up another bottle of it at the distillery. It's a finished one though. It's not just the bourbon. I don't hate this. It's a little bit burny, but I have not drank a lot today, and we just ate dinner not too long ago.
I can't measure the burn because, like I said, I burnt my tongue, so there already is kind of a sting.
What are you getting on the nose?
To me, it smells like it's got like a finish. It's got this.
You said malty earlier, and I definitely smell what you're smelling.
But then it's got this like note that I usually get with like a red wine finish type of note.
Like grapey?
Not like a grape, like red wine, that like fermented grape, I guess. It's like
You just got booze on the mind.
No, it's like wine doesn't smell like grapes.
No, it smells liquory. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to
describe it because I've never watched a wine tasting where they explain these things. It smells, that it has like a note that I get in like a red wine.
Honestly though, I hear these people talk about these notes that they pull out of these glasses all the time. I think most of it's BS.
The one that gets me is figs. When people say figs.
I guarantee that most of the people out there have never even eaten a fig in their life. They've probably had a fig Newton, which is very different than a fig. And that might be like their childhood memory of eating a fig Newton. Oh, this is a fig Newton.
Well, that's how tasting notes work, right? It's your memory of something else that you're describing it as. But, so I am a avid gardener. I grew all kinds of plants and fruits, and so we have fig trees. And I have never smelled anything on a whiskey that smells like a fig. Ever.
I mean, I don't even know that I could describe the taste of a fig, and I eat them every year when we harvest them.
It tastes like a fig.
It tastes like a fig. I mean, maybe like a honey-drenched, overripe pear with a mushy...
Like a cucumber.
Yeah, the
It's got a little
texture.
cucumber note and honey. Definitely honey. So maybe because it's sweet.
I don't know. Like, I hear, like, Brown-Forman products a lot. People are like, I get banana on this, or banana runts, or banana bread, or whatever. I guarantee you, if I was to grab a banana from the counter over there and peel it back and smell that and smell the glass, it wouldn't smell like that banana. It's banana-ish, banana adjacent maybe. Mm-hmm. Or it's just your memory of what a banana smells like. I don't even know. But I think that these fancy sommeliers or whatever, they're pulling those out of their butt. Those are not real
Well,
smells that they're smelling.
I get banana a lot. And I think it does smell like banana. But not like,
Not like a banana though.
well, maybe like a really brown one.
I think a really brown banana smells like more intense banana than
Yeah.
a green one.
Yeah, that really sweet
I don't-
banana.
Like I said, I've got those, like, yeah, I can relate this to a banana, but it's not really banana. Like my memory of what a banana was if I don't have a banana sitting right beside me.
That's the interesting thing about this. But there is some weird fruity fermented something.
I definitely
That's
get
just
like
why I'm saying wine.
a fruity smell on a lot of bourbons. But I couldn't like pick out the fruit. I mean, very rarely I can pick out like a specific, like a green apple or a red apple, or that's raspberry or that's blueberry.
It's very rare. So, like, I would say Japanese whiskey, I get those, like, green apple or something, like a tart fruit.
I would describe it as like, this is bright fruit versus
Like a
this
green fruit. This is a
versus
green
dark
fruit versus a red fruit,
Yeah.
which I'm okay with, too, because that's kind of how it is. It's not like unless you, like, can pick out all the different fruit notes that blend together to make this fruit note that you smell.
I mean, I have like just randomly pulled a specific smell or flavor out of a whiskey. Like the Blue Note juke joint that I got the buttered popcorn on.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I had buttered popcorn beside me, I would probably be like, oh, that's nothing like buttered popcorn. It's just my mind telling me,
Well,
you've smelled this somewhere before, and that's what I'm relating it to.
and what's funny about that is you said it was on the taste, and you never eat buttered popcorn because
exactly.
you don't like
I hate buttered popcorn. So,
But you're like, it tastes like buttered popcorn.
so that's why it's just so subjective, these tasting notes and nosing notes. I see all the time, like, when it's a couple and they're doing a review and one person's like, oh, I get this and I get this and I get this, and then there's like, I don't get any of that.
So I think a lot of times you and I get similar notes, but we don't usually go like crazy specific. We'll be like, this one's really fruity, and we usually get like, this is a really fruity one. Or like, this one's really oak heavy, we'll be able to pick those up. Or this one's really sweet and vanilla.
Well,
And-
I also feel like the more foods and things you try throughout your life, like, you're very open-minded. If we go to a restaurant and we're looking at a menu, I can pick by looking at the menu what you're going to order, because it's the weirdest thing on the menu.
It's
and you're so
it's the most interesting. Just like how I like my whiskey.
right,
It's the most interesting.
But you're so open to those weird and crazy things that I've never even heard of before. And I'm like more traditional. I'm like, I like these things, and I'm not necessarily closed-minded because you've got me to try a lot of things since we've been together. But the things that I've tried are far fewer than the things that you've tried. So I would venture to guess that my whiskey nosing and tasting acumen is much smaller than yours. You by experience, you should be able to pull more things that you can relate flavor-wise and smell-wise out of there.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I mean, that makes sense. But I don't know that I don't know. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. Again, it's like my mood. Am I, really into it, or am I just wanting to enjoy it, or to even be able to pick those things out? And yes, I have tried crazy amounts of weird combinations of foods. And that's probably why I try so many crazy different whiskeys too. I just enjoy the experience of trying new things. But it doesn't mean that I can put it to words. My vocabulary may not be as strong as what I actually taste.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been doing this a while, and we got a pretty big collection. We've been drinking it a long time. I would feel like in that time we would be better at pulling specific notes out. And I'm still more like, is this good or is this not good? Is this sugary or is this fruity?
Well,
and then are there like astringent notes that stand out, or is it like just really smooth and super easy to sip? And then from there I can be like, okay, I get like caramel, brown sugar, blah blah blah, all the classic stuff, right?
and honestly, I prefer to stay that way because I don't know. I'm such a critic of myself with does it actually have that note? Like, I just cooked with molasses and of course I had to taste it while I was adding it to the thing to be like, have I actually picked up that note in something? I don't know that I have. Of course I tasted it just to be like, is that the note? Because I like to know what things taste like, but
I would guess that most people have not tasted raw molasses. They've probably, their experience with molasses is through like baked beans or, cookies, those iced molasses cookies, And so that's probably the flavor that they're relating to molasses more in a whiskey than I taste molasses.
So that's what I'm doing wrong with my tasting notes. I need to be more specific, like this tastes like a molasses cookie, or what was that bottle we drank recently that you were like, this tastes like this with icing on it?
Oh, that the Nulu Amberana finish.
Oh, yeah.
The Christmas spice cake with cream cheese frosting.
Yeah, I can't come up with that kind of a note on my own. I don't.
So I guess if you're bougie, you're gonna say I taste molasses and blah blah blah, and if you're blue collar,
if you're trashy like us,
if you're high class white trash like us, you're gonna be like, that's a molasses cookie.
High class white trash.
That's us.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Yeah, there you go. So this is opening up a bit now that, I just totally crapped all over neck pour and stuff not opening.
I don't know that it's neck pour necessarily, the opening.
Well, there's some evaporation happening. I mean,
yeah, I just think the start of the vapors just kind of.
The alcohol is going to evaporate. What's left in there is going to concentrate. The flavors are going to get richer.
Such a small amount of that.
Of course it is, but
maybe it's more that you're accustomed to it because you've had a sip and you've.
No, your tongue is so stinking sensitive. It's going to pick up on changes in the parts per million. It just is.
your throat really picks up.
That's like the worst. You're swishing it around in your mouth.
It just gets a little too far back.
You get it a little towards the back of your tongue, and maybe you're breathing in.
See, I didn't breathe it in. It just like tickled the vocal cord. just so I felt it, a little burn. It just makes me feel like I gotta talk like this now.
So for those of those followers that aren't like into anatomy and physiology, you got this little valve, for lack of a better term, in the back of your throat there called the epiglottis that literally closes when you eat or drink to keep that liquid and food solids out of your trachea and keeps it out of your lungs. So when people say, oh, I swallowed and it went down the wrong pipe, that's what they're talking about. Your epiglottis didn't close and it went into your trachea. And I feel like when you're holding this at the back of your tongue, am I going too deep on this?
Go ahead, let's go full on A&P, anatomy and physiology. It's been, let's see, I don't need to say how old I am, but I guess, let's see, I graduated in 09, so
Yeah.
How many years has it been since I took that class?
You're aging yourself now. But basically, you're holding the alcohol at the back of your tongue, trying to taste it at the same time you're breathing, and that epiglottis gets confused so it don't close, and that's what's happening there. I guarantee everybody watching this has done that.
Well, yeah.
More than once.
I mean, when you're really trying to dive deep and get every little bit of your mouth covered in it, you're gonna have to wait a bit before you open that next one.
That's fine.
Because I am not there yet.
I don't hate this. It's not bad. It started off real burny, like real ethanol forward. But the more I sipped on it, the less of a factor that ethanol became. It's definitely crafty. It's.
I got chocolate to pair with it, but that's because I didn't know what it tastes like. I think this would have been better if I would have gone out and like picked some raspberries or something. I think that would have gone well with it.
Yeah. Again, though, I don't hate it. I'm not mad at the purchase. I love. I love the single barrels, the variations on the shelfers that are out there. I feel like I get more excited about single barrels now than I do about, chasing this crap.
Well, I mean, it helps that we've found a lot of that crap, as you said that.
Well, yeah. I just feel like so much time and money and effort is put into chasing those things down. And again, if you don't have them, I get it. Because that's how we got all of them. We didn't have them. The whole world's like, these are the cool things to have. People are paying an arm and a leg for them. So I'm going to look for them. They must be the best, right? And we found out through blinds that that's not always the case. I mean,
Sometimes it is.
There's a reason why a lot of those are what they are, because they're just elite. And they're limited supplies, I get it. But there's also a lot of other things that are readily available that I feel compete and often win. And the variations in these single barrels, I love single barrels. I said, that's what's exciting me now about whiskey is the fact that there are so many, every little mom and pop in America can go to a distillery or have their distributor bring them samples from a distillery to pick a single barrel, and then they can have it on their shelves and it's unique to them.
Well, that's why we've chased a crazy amount of single barrels. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we went through and half of what, maybe not quite half, but a third of what we have is probably single barrels.
Yeah, and there's a large percentage also that are small batch, and small batch is such a a misused or overused term because a small batch could be 300 barrels, right? In the grand scheme of things, you know, you're talking they're mixing like a Wild Turkey 101. You're talking thousands of barrels go into that blend. So a small batch could be several hundred. But the small batches that I'm talking about are like
I get what you're saying.
30 or less, or you know.
Like legit small, like it's limited because it's such a small quantity.
Yeah, so we got a lot of those on the shelves, those smaller small batches, micro batches, I guess, I don't know.
I don't
And
know.
single barrels because they're unique. They're just what, like I said, it's what excites me about
And-
whiskey.
I mean, I'm a little sad about the High West. Is it double rye single
Yep.
barrels?
Well, yeah, it's all of the High West. You know, they got bought, and I don't remember by who, because you know who can keep track of all of the whiskey news every day. But this new company has basically said, you know, we're not doing these.
The single barrel program.
I think they still have single barrel programs, I think, but they're not like you get to choose your finish type single barrel programs. So those double ryes that I've been chasing down are going to go away. You know, what's out there now is what's out there.
So sad. I'm glad we got a whole bunch of them that are different, but I wish they're like, I don't know what else is out there that we didn't get, kind of thing. And I'm like, well, what if there's like an even cooler finish, like
And-
something
and there-
even better? And I'm sure there is.
And I'm sure there is, exactly.
But I mean, we've got what, like 5 or 6 of them? I don't know. How many do we have? Where are they at?
They're over there on that shelf, and we got a few, the Merlot and the Malbec and the rum, and you know we've got them. I would like to have more.
Yeah, they're interesting and good.
And good, exactly.
Yeah, you gotta have both. I like interesting, but more important, it's gotta be good. But I want it to be interesting at the same time.
Yeah. You gonna finish that thing? Did you pour yourself more than you poured me?
I might have. Take a last sip. I gotta work tomorrow, you know.
Yeah, I'll pour the next one. It'll be a light pour. Have some water, babe. So this guy, also from the Lake Sammamish QFC, Bourbon Baller Lee. This is John and Lee's Wicked Batch 11. It's an Elijah Craig single barrel. It's 10 years old, so it's got some age to it, but it's a monster. 135.5 proof, uncut, straight from the barrel. Let's get into it. I love these Elijah Craig single barrels, which I'm not going to be able to open this now.
We don't actually have very many. Do we have one or two?
We've got a couple over there.
Mostly we just have ECBPs, but this is younger than an ECBP.
It is.
And you know, people are real upset about the age statement on the ECBP, the most recent one. So,
I think we've got one over there that's like 8 years old, and it's fantastic.
yeah, I don't think.
Just a little splash for you.
So you said 135 proof?
135.5, 67.75. It's a monster for sure.
I mean, since I've never been on a pick before, do they tell them what the proof is? Probably.
I'm guessing when they get their samples, they have all the stats.
Well, he may have gone there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they went there or if the samples came to them. I would assume the samples came to them, but you know, it's just an assumption.
It could be.
And you did have an opportunity to go on a pick.
Stop. I did have could have gone to Hard Truth, but you know, someone cut their fingertips off, and I got nervous, and I canceled.
And I was like, I will be fine.
I got nervous.
Cheers.
I'm a worrier.
So, neck pour.
Well, that smells very good.
Yeah, so I think just off that first couple smells, I think the step up from the craft to this legacy distillery, Heaven Hill, It's noticeable because this smells awesome.
Well, okay. So here's the thing, though. These legacy distillers, most of them, I absolutely love everything they put out. I mean, we've got like a whole shelf of ECBPs. So obviously, this is a profile we enjoy.
Well, yes. Hundo P.
But this, we don't have a whole shelf of.
We got 2 of them now.
Got 2 of them now. We've had a third that we drank.
We drank it. God, that smells good.
Oh, wow.
I would honestly put that up against a stag.
Well, I don't know if I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. There's the thing. You know, sometimes we think these things, like, we could put this up against an awesome bottle. But then I'm, like, really torn on it. Like,
Yeah.
I'd love to know
I don't want to know.
But I'm torn. Like, I'd like to know, is this, can, like, a easier to come by bottle be, like, better than that? But then I'd be, like, sad if it is.
Well,
Because,
think about that Nashville barrel from Stuff and Whiskey and ADHD. They did it together.
yeah.
Swag Junior was the tater sticker on it. And we tasted it against a Stag Junior. And they were so similar.
They were crazy similar.
I could not pick which one was which. I mean, we went off just the flavor, and the Stag Junior beat it, but just barely. I mean,
there was, like, this one little
if
note.
we, yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's because it was a single barrel versus, like, if they had several batched together to...
But honestly, like
It
you said
was-
earlier, your mood. If we would have drank them side by side the next day, it might have gone the other way.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of people
And-
in the Discord chat that said that they picked, because they picked a specific batch of the Stag Junior, and I mean, I don't know that I could even go that specific with it because I think so many of them are so similar, but I did the same batch that everyone else did, and, you know, about half the people picked the Nashville, and about half picked the Stag Junior. That's how close they were.
Yeah.
It was just insane.
I get a lot of those, and it's probably the proof, you know, that proof, the viscosity, just the whole experience of me putting this in my mouth and
Okay, I can
it
see that.
lighting my nerve endings on fire. It's just very similar to the experience I get when I put the Stag in my mouth.
Well, I get that. We don't have a whole lot of bottles that are 135 proof. We've got Jack Daniel's single barrel proof.
Tennessee
And-
whiskey and rye.
Yes. We've got Stag and Stag Junior.
We got a few. I mean,
But I mean, there's not that many that are at 135. You get a handful at 130.
high 120s.
And then
Stepping into the 130s is, I acknowledge that's
it's pretty rare.
Fewer bottles.
I mean, you got the Coy Hill that's well above that, but that's a
What's
whole
that
other.
one? 43.3.
Yeah, 143 something. But there were some people that got a Coy Hill that was like 138. So I mean, that's pretty similar to some people's Coy
That's a
Hills.
single barrel proof.
Crazy, yeah, because our single barrel proof's 130.
I would be
something.
upset. I mean, we got a killer deal on that. But I've seen those on secondary for $1,000. And can you imagine dropping $1,000 on that bottle and it coming in the mail and being like
Almost the same proof.
129 or something or whatever
No,
the
I think they were all like.
whatever the lowest proof was.
It might have been like 138.
And
or
then you
something,
look on
which
your
is
shelf and-
Pretty similar.
Yeah, and you look on your shelf and you've got that gold label single barrel and it's the same proof or higher. How pissed would you be?
Yeah. I mean,
Somebody out there did that.
oh, I'm sure they did. And they probably were upset because from what I hear, these ones are the fire ones.
Oh,
Like I just mean like they're like so much more amazing once you hit that 140 proof. And it is. It's like
And-
overwhelming amazing.
and I thought I overpaid for that at the time.
Didn't you only pay like $70?
At like $87 was what I paid for that.
Yeah. And now if we saw something like that at that price, we'd be like, oh my gosh, it's the best deal ever. Because everything's
Yeah.
so crazy priced now.
And I didn't even know what it was. I mean, I went into Sid's store down there after work, and he had 2 of them in there.
You should have bought them both.
Had I known, I mean, at the time, I think it was the Eric Church. He's the country singer.
Sure.
That Eric Church Jack Daniels was out there for around, $500 on secondary. And, every time I went into like a site and looked, that's the one, And then all of a sudden you start seeing like Coy Hill every now and then. I didn't know what it was. I went in that store and I got it and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. That's got a red label Jack. I'll take it. How much? He's like $87 out the door. I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Didn't you pay more for the 10-year right after that?
The 10-year I paid like $95 for. Like 2 weeks later.
Crazy. We didn't get this 10-year, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We have a 10-year, so we don't need every batch. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have had it because they say it's better than that one, but I ain't losing sleep over it.
No, and, I say I'm a Jack girl, but, there's still only so much space. We pretty much have everything that's not several years old by them,
Yeah, I mean,
other than the 10-year.
you always want more,
Well, duh.
but
You can always build me more shelves.
but honestly, I could probably, off of just what we have in this room, I could probably drink every night on it for the next 10 years and not drain all these bottles. Some might say we have a problem.
Shopping problem?
Yeah.
Well, I tried to stop buying, and I tell you, like, okay, we're gonna save some money, we're not gonna buy any whiskey, and then you go out of town and you come home with like a whole bag full, and I'm like, what the heck? I thought we weren't buying whiskey anymore.
Yeah. You ain't mad at it.
No, I'm not mad. Whatever, but I'm just trying to.
I mean, I came home from work today and there's a box with your name on it on the
Hey,
counter.
it was a raffle winning or something.
A raffle.
Hey, I did not pay how much that bottle costs to get. It was like a donation drawing thing.
Went to a good cause.
It went to a good cause. It was like
This is good.
for cancer or something. I was donating for a good cause.
Bourbon Baller Lee, if you watch this, good job.
Yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic single barrel.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's making me speechless. Can't even talk. Did you already finish it?
No,
Oh, you were holding it down, and I was like, what the heck? You need to slow down. Have some chocolate.
No, I kind of hold it in my hand like this because I like to warm it up, right? I feel like the warmer it is, the more flavor you get out of it.
Was it during the winter time that we were like rinsing our glasses with hot water?
It was, yes.
Because it got so cold.
It's also in the winter time when we went through a whole bottle of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch 522 in our hot cocoa.
And it was really good.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
It's like the best winter cocktail.
But when it's in the teens outside, you need something to warm you up. But yeah, I'm just kind of holding this down here, warming it up in my hand because it's releasing a lot more flavor and aroma. Not that I'm hiding the glass because I drank it all.
No, I thought you were just holding it down there
Oh,
because
no.
you were done. And I was like, I don't feel like, I don't know,
All right, how much you got left there?
a couple sips.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish this and drink some water. Shall we wrap it up?
Sure. Unless you got something else cool to talk about.
I mean, I got a hot take on everything, and whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, it don't matter because it's just my opinion. But we'll save it for the next episode.
Yeah, it was fun to film. I hope this turns out well. I hope you guys like it. If you don't, tell me. If you do, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, this is just us in our element, talking to each other. I mean, for most of this, I forgot you guys were even there.
But it's not because we don't like you guys. We just like creating content that we like creating.
Yeah.
So,
Cheers, everybody.
cheers. Thanks for watching.
Like, comment, subscribe.
What he said.